Feeling like everyone's moving ahead while you remain stuck. Eyeing someone's outfit, work, relationship, or hearing about their travel plans and sensing a twist in your gut. Resenting someone who seems to have everything going for them. And constantly saving a million inspirational posts that you never seem to look at twice. And to top it all off, consuming more content that makes you compare. And then you wonder, why does their life look like a highlight while mine seems to be under a big shadow? The unfairness of life is a repeat telecast in your head, but you leave that aside and decide to get comfy on the couch and watch some Netflix to forget about it all. And then what? Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. How many of our actions or the lack of them are driven by envy and the fear of missing out? When we see others reflecting our deepest desires, we see it as a proof of our unworthiness, and we are used to suppressing envy as a bad emotion. But in truth, there are no good or bad signals. There is only a signal and what you choose to do with it. Envy has been seen by society as the green-eyed monster or been labeled as one of the 7 deadly sins. And for so many of us, envy is a frenemy that we don't want to meet. But deep down, I think we are just afraid of what it represents, the existence of something so dark within us that we fear it will be a turn-off for others. And conversely, when we see envy in other people, it feels like a major letdown, almost a betrayal. But envy is more common and more human than we think. A study in UC San Diego found that nearly 8 in 10 women and 7 in 10 men experienced envy related to career success and appearances. And it doesn't matter if it's a stranger or someone close, envy shows up either way. In today's world, jealousy or envy is perhaps one shadow emotion that is widespread but sadly spoken very little about. The potential possibilities of living a good life are on a grand display through social media, and that potential is desired by all. So when it feels like everyone else is living that lifestyle but we are not, it can easily trigger insecurity and anxiety within us. And so many times we feel ashamed about our feelings as though there is something wrong with us. And this shame only destroys our self-worth further. But in reality, being insecure isn't a big deal. And it can seem scandalous, but I have found envy to be one of the most useful emotions, a natural sign of being human. The society or the world teaches us to cover it up and not really understand envy fully. We are never taught that. So it's no wonder that we end up developing escapist patterns around it, and then we are also unable to view other people's envy or jealousy with more compassion. The more we talk about it openly and normalize it as an emotion that everyone feels, the more we are able to heal our patterns and see it with new eyes. So how can you practically use envy? Envy is a powerful emotion that shows the deep-rooted subconscious beliefs you have about your self-worth and the direction that your life can take if you follow the breadcrumbs of excitement. Instead of trying to get rid of envy, if we get to know envy better, befriend it, and just know it more deeply, we can use it as an active energy to influence right action in our life. Envy is a sign of what we truly feel like exploring in the material world. It can also be a great indicator of the area in which life wants you to do some inner work. Whenever we feel envious, insecure, or jealous, just become more aware of how you're feeling within the body in that moment. As you become aware of the different sensations that are coming up within the body, you start healing the contraction that takes place inside the body as a habitual reaction to the thoughts of comparison or deep-rooted beliefs of unworthiness. And then you start accepting the presence of envy more and more and release it from your life. Self-doubt, especially when we have not taken action towards what we desire, that has gotten the reps in, can be one of the major triggers of envy. And there can also be the seed belief that we somehow don't belong to this world and we are unsure of our place in the world, but we refuse to take up space by expressing, trusting in our capabilities and trying the things that inspire us. When we can't trust ourselves to take up action towards the goals that truly matter, we end up feeling envious towards other people who are taking action. And that leads to resentment, bitterness, and eventually cynicism towards life. If we stop keeping tabs on other people's progress and instead laser focus on our next action, we will not have the inclination to keep giving into these mental patterns. And if lethargy, procrastination, or perfectionism is what's blocking you, then invest in physical movement. And one mantra that's been really helpful is it's better done than perfect. So get comfortable with the quiet phases of the grind, showing up day in and day out, where it's just you and your proverbial yoga mat. But sometimes you may feel that your circumstances are limited, and that can lead to self-doubt and envy. If that's the case, then look at it from this angle. Your limitations or disabilities can prove to be a powerful advantage to become more innovative and to address the people who have gone through something similar and who can relate to you deeply. If you have full clarity and conviction that you want to pursue this desire, then envy can help you find the potential direction in which you can feel the most excitement. Say you're driving on the freeway and you see several cars that are zooming past you, whether they are in the same lane or a different lane. Now, when you see that, you're not really bothered. You don't really care whether a car is going to reach before you or is even headed in the same direction. You know the destination you want to go to and you're trying to get there in one piece. You have clarity of purpose and you're focused. It's the same analogy that you can apply in life as well. Be clear on what truly matters to you for your happiness without letting other people factor into that equation, and keep putting in the work. Then sooner rather than later, you will get there. Understand the bigger picture and your priorities in life. Often how something looks is very different from how it actually feels. So what you imagine your dream life or someone's perfectly curated lifestyle to look like is going to be very different from how it will actually feel in real life, because life is always going to be throwing challenges at you no matter how perfect things look on paper. So what I do to get clarity is I visualize and ask myself, do I truly want this? I reflect on if this aspiration will truly make me happy, like will it suit the lifestyle I prefer, or will it support my long-term growth towards contentment in life? Some desires may feel tempting, but they are not really worth the effort, energy, or time they need, and they may distract you from the goals that truly matter to you. So ask yourself, am I interested in putting in the effort, energy that this desire requires? Sometimes we are obsessed or fixated on a time frame. Looking at societal norms, we want to land our dream jobs or get married or travel extensively in our 20s, buy a house or start a family in our 30s, and then probably retire by the time we are in our 40s. And it's so unrealistic because everyone has their own timeline. That's why I love this concept from Japanese culture called Oubaitori. Oubaitori is a Japanese idiom which talks about celebrating our own unique individuality and having faith, trusting that we'll bloom in our own time without comparing ourselves to others. It draws inspiration from these 4 flowering trees, and the kanji word for Oubaitori is also made up of characters, each of which represent those 4 flowering trees. And these are cherry blossom or sakura in Japanese, plum or ume, peach or momo, and apricot or uri. Each of these flowering trees have beautiful flowers that can't really be compared because each of them are stunning in their own right. And so we must learn to accept our flaws and celebrate our unique personalities, having faith in our life path ahead. A lot of times we are operating with a fixed mindset. We think of prosperity in life as a pizza slice on the table, and one person's success seems like another's failure. But is that actually true? I recently read this very interesting story attributed to Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher who wrote the Taoist scripture Tao Te Ching. And in the story, there is an old man called Sayong, and he has a horse. One day, the horse disappears. So his neighbors come up to him expressing dismay. And the old man strangely responds, "Who says this cannot be some sort of blessing?" The next day, the horse returns with another wild horse. And the neighbors come up to him, congratulating him on the successful turn of events. To this, the old man responds, "Who says this cannot be some sort of misfortune?" Few days later, the old man's son tries to ride the wild horse and breaks his leg in the process. As expected, the neighbors show up and show their dismay at what has happened. But the old man characteristically responds, "Who says this cannot be some sort of blessing?" Soon, war breaks out in the country, and a lot of young men from the village are drafted into the army and lose their lives. But the old man's son, having injured his leg, escapes this fate. The old man's attitude is a display of equanimity. He doesn't attach strong emotions to outside events because he doesn't see win or loss in an absolute sense. We are generally too quick to judge our situations in life, but the old man knows that situations are a part of a larger unfolding process. He recognizes that seemingly negative events can have positive consequences and vice versa. The old man's responses are a way of acknowledging that things happen for a reason and that there is a natural flow to life. And if we cling to outcomes, then that is not the path to true understanding. Let me know in the comments if you relate to this story or if you know of any other such stories that talk of something similar. You know, when you crave sweets, but you end up having too many of them, what do you feel? You feel sick, right? So it's the same with luxury. I think too much luxury can weaken us. Or if there is only success in life, then life won't be fun in the end. Failure and challenges are needed to balance the tip of the scale in the right direction of growth. Most of the times we have exactly what we need in life. I truly believe that each one of us has been given what he or she needs to grow in life. And sometimes we confuse this current experience to last a lifetime instead of just being a season of our lives. We think our miseries will last forever and our successes or highs will last forever. But that is a recipe that we follow unknowingly that leads us to suffering. At the core, envy comes from this root belief that I'm worthy only if I get this, or I'll be happy, complete, or satisfied only if I have this in my life. And what we do as a habit is we gather expectations and then we feel entitled to getting those expectations met by life. And then when that doesn't happen, we choose to add suffering or misery into our lives. Whenever I'm caught up in that frame of mind, I try to reflect and realize that life doesn't owe me anything. We all deserve to be happy, but when that happiness becomes conditioned on one thing, or when you get narrowly focused on specific desires, that's when happiness escapes you. So as you experience more, you realize that you don't need the best of everything to feel happy. And life doesn't limit you from playing with any of the different dimensions it has to offer, like style, colors, exploration, entertainment, etc. When you start defining exactly how that enjoyment should look like, when you base your entire life's worth on one thing, there is bound to be disillusionment. And no external event or thing can bring you happiness. It may feel great momentarily, but when you're over it, when it starts becoming a part of your normal routine, it starts losing its significance automatically as part of that normalcy. Like imagine having an outfit you cherished as a child, and then as you grew, it no longer fit you and it lost its importance for you. So it's similar to that. Things lose their importance over time, but we tend to get attached to them and we tend to think that our entire happiness is, based on that one thing. First, understand your goal in eliminating envy. Is it just that you want to stop suffering? In that case, use the tool of gratitude to appreciate what you already have in life. You can conduct a self-survey where you see how are you already abundant in life. So you can ask yourself, what are the things I feel I lack whenever envy shows up? And then see if you're able to notice, is the thing that you're lacking already present in some or the other form? Alan Watts said in his book, The Wisdom of Insecurity, that there is a contradiction in wanting to be perfectly secure in a universe whose very nature is momentariness and fluidity. The relentless pursuit of security is what perpetuates insecurity. What does that actually mean? The design of our mind is such that it cannot stop feeling insecure because insecurity is its very nature, as is the world around it. All of our worries and anxieties are a result of this insecurity. But what has helped me see beyond insecurity is that each moment where you get thoughts of comparison or you feel inadequate, see it as an opportunity to realize that you're okay even when feeling insecure. So even when you don't have what you want, you will be okay. In those cases, maybe life wants you to build more resilience, that you will be able to find fulfillment in other things in life. Realize that the pain that you feel is temporary. Ask yourself, what is stopping me from being happy anyway? Or making an attempt to make the most of my life right now? How can I reach a state of acceptance and move on? What I've observed is people who have true life satisfaction, those who are not affected by toxic patterns of envy, don't mind the insecurities they have because they have accepted all sides of themselves. They realize that their worth comes from something way deeper and that it cannot be attributed to anything outside because the outside keeps changing. And that's what has led them to be more happy and at peace. Envy is a momentary sensation, but each time it shows up, it is asking you to face something within you. Not to hold on to it, but to acknowledge, take action if necessary, and to let go. The more you face envy within yourself, the less you are impacted when you see it in others. And the more you can choose to be yourself and to not hide your light. When you become comfortable in your own skin, you realize that all this struggle, all this striving for security is what is making you insecure. And so you learn to let go of the struggle and just relax bit by bit. And from that state of calmness, when you take inspired action, trust that it will take you to where you need to go on your journey towards your best life and realizing your fullest potential. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, I welcome you to hit the like button. It always helps with YouTube recommending it to the right audience, and subscribe for more content that helps you reflect. Thank you.